So you've got a great business, but no one seems to be able to know anything about it. You've had a great website built, it looks beautiful, and yet no traffic seems to be coming along. Well, today we're going to discuss how can you get traffic to your website, whether it's a new website or whether one you've had for some while now. What tips can you be given to make a big dramatic change to the amount of traffic that comes along? I mean, it can be a real struggle sometimes trying to get traffic to your website, an uphill battle. It seems that everyone else gets the traffic, and yet every time you go to Google, no one seems to be searching for your business. I had a similar situation a few years ago, and then I thought, well, I'm going to dive into finding out what can I do then to really get my business seen again. All the people that had given me work in the past were drying up, things were changing in web design, so I needed to make some changes. But at the same time, I had no budget, so I wanted to do it for absolutely free. I'd not done any optimization, I'd done no marketing budget at all for my business, so I really needed to start thinking about a different strategy. And today I'm going to show you the 10 things that I learnt, and I'm going to share with you that were successful for my business. And hopefully by the end of this video, you'll be able to go away today and apply these 10 things to your business too. And then you'll start to see the increase of traffic. And if you've already tried to do this a few times already, but you found it quite confusing, there's all these different terms with digital marketing. There's black hat, white hat, SEO, there's GMB, NAP, there's SEO itself. If those things are confusing you, then I understand what that's like, because there is a little bit of a learning curve when you first look at these things. And the other challenge is a lot of the information out there is 2, 3, 4 years old. So actually some of the things they're saying to apply in older videos actually will not do you any good at all now. So it's always good to know what's the latest you can do, what's the very current thinking. And that's what I'm going to look at and share with you today. 10 strategies or 10 things you can do to your business that will immediately start to see a positive effect on the traffic to your website. Well, no surprise, the first thing is local SEO. Now, the reason why I've got a GMB, a Google My Business channel, is because that's the thing that's so important at the moment, that's the thing that's actually getting me traffic. Why? Because people want to know, how do they get their listing on Google? How do they add their business to Google Maps? And it's a really simple thing to do. So I'm going to put a link down below that's going to help you to know how you can add your business to Google Maps. And literally within 5 minutes, you can start getting local inquiries. But it's important to understand that local SEO is only for local inquiries. So if you're a service or if you're a shop, then it will literally just be the vicinity, the area, maybe a couple of miles around where you live, that will be found under local SEO. And that's the purpose of Google My Business, is just to get you shown to local people searching for your business or your products. So if you want to know how to add your business to Google Maps, then make sure that you go to the link I'll put down below in the description. And while you're there, of course, subscribe to the channel, and then you won't miss out on all the other tips that I provide to help you grow your business. And the second area you really need to understand is keywords. So you'll hear people talk about long tail keywords. The trouble is keywords now, most people use 4 or 5 keywords in a search, and particularly because they're using what's suggested by Google. So as you start typing into Google what you're looking for, Google starts to anticipate what it is that your intent is. And often then people will click on the suggestion for the search term. And these can sometimes be 3, 4, 5, even 6 keywords long. So what you want to do is know what it is that the keyword you're aiming for your business. So if your business is about gardening, rather than just landscape gardening, you might want to do landscape gardening for local people, or landscape gardening for people with a tight budget. And to get the ideas as to what you can actually use is, if you go to Google, you'll see there, as you start typing, Google makes other suggestions for you. And if you then start blogging, writing, making videos about those particular keywords, you'll find that's where you'll start to get the traffic, because that's what real people are actually searching in the search terms for. So what you're doing is you're understanding the intent of your visitor before they come and find you, because you're now writing about something they're looking for. And once you understand what the visitor's intent is, you can then make sure that you then sell the services or products that are going to help them. So actually, a lot of the reason why people don't succeed with Google and get traffic is because they don't really understand what it is and what would help their customers beforehand. Once a customer feels you're helping them, they're more likely to do business with you. Now, there are lots of ways to do keyword research, but I've put together a video that shows you 7 keyword tools, and the majority of them are free as well. So have a look at this video when you've finished here, and I'll put a link down below to it as well, and the link above you can go to if you want to find out how you can use keywords. Now, the third thing is branding. You need to really have a clear, strong brand. You need to know what it is you're offering, what it is that your service is going to do that others aren't doing that makes you unique. So how do you stand out? Is your brand clear? Do people understand what it is you do? Of course, you have to make sure you understand what it is that you offer before you can then help others understand that too. So you really need to have your own website to do your own branding. You need probably a little bit of design work done too. And then once you've got your own website, you can then use those keywords that we just mentioned, and you can start to then put them into your blog or into your news areas, and also into perhaps some landing pages or some specific pages of your website. How does that work? Well, normally WordPress is a really good tool you can use. It's a content management system. You may have heard the abbreviation CMS, content management system. And what that means is you're in charge then of putting the content there on the web. And it's a bit like using, say, Word documents, but once you're happy with what you've written, you can then make it, publish it, make it go live. So quite easy to use. If you need managers or website managers to do that for you, then website designers like myself can do that for you too. And then what you can then do is use plugins such as Yoast. And what this will do is it means that you can then decide on what keyword it is that you chose. And then you can make sure that the rest of that document is optimized for that keyword. And literally, you're looking for a couple of green lights really to say that the English that's written is easy to read. It also means that your headings, your alt tags, and generally the keyword appears naturally throughout the whole of the document. And that's really what Google's looking for. Now, if you want to go into a higher optimization of this, you could start doing keyword research on your competitors, see how they're ranking for their keywords, and you can then understand and mimic the ability that they have of representing that in their documents. But ultimately, just to get some traffic through in the first place, writing really well put together articles using specific keywords that people are looking for, that's going to be a key, and certainly WordPress would be my recommendation. And my fourth recommendation to get traffic to your website is to just have regular updates. This is probably the biggest problem people have, is they build a website, they love it, they put it live, no traffic comes to it, and that's it, they leave it. Whereas actually what Google's looking for is it has a spider from the search engine that comes along to your website and says, okay, what's new? And if it doesn't find anything new, then it will go away and it'll come back a bit later. And if there's nothing new again, it will go away, and it'll wait a lot longer this time. And it gradually won't even bother coming back because it just knows nothing changes. So if you regularly update your website, you make it so that it's current, that it has information that's useful to your visitors, and that people actually go to it, they're more likely then to link to it. They'll start to view it as an authority. And we often talk about backlinks. Backlinks often come not by asking for them, that is one strategy, but another strategy is to just have great content that people want to link to. And that will improve then your ranking, because Google will see that you're an authority, and therefore you'll start to find that more traffic will come your way. Now, there are lots of different strategies when it comes to backlinks, but there are 2 in particular that I use. And so I've got a video just here that you can go to see what backlink strategy you should use if you want to get easy growth without the embarrassment of asking for backlink. Now, the 5th area to get more traffic is to just add videos. Why? Well, a few years ago, I used to write blogs, and that was when I first started to get more traffic to my website. But I also recognized that people want to be shown how to do something rather than told. So when you read something, you're kind of almost being told what to do. Whereas when you watch a video, you're being shown how to do it. Today, I'm showing you how I optimized my website so I got more traffic. And I'm talking you through all the process. And I'm even going to show you statistics and things that support what I'm saying. And by being shown how it works and showing the proof of how it works, people are much more likely to be engaged and enjoy what they're watching. Now, of course, if that's embedded on your website, so if you go to the website page and there is a YouTube video embedded within it, then you're no doubt going to start watching it and you'll be spending time on that page. So say if you go to a page that you've searched for in Google and Google sees you spent 4 minutes watching a video on that page, then Google's going to go, well, this is a valuable page because people have spent 4 minutes on average going to this page. Whereas your competitor, they went there, they read for 30 seconds and then they went. And so that time on page is going to make a difference to how Google sees you as an expert, as trustworthy, and as an authority. And these things are important to Google when it comes to their metrics. So just think in terms of, you don't want people bouncing off the page straight away. You want people to be engaged with the page. And that in itself will then encourage more traffic because Google will start ranking you higher. And the higher up in the search engine you go, the more traffic you'll get. So do make sure that you use videos, if it's possible, on your blog or news item. The sixth area is just write about things that people are interested in, but particularly when it comes to trends. So if you go to Google Trends, you'll notice there might be in your particular business something that's suddenly breaking out, some information that people are looking for very quickly. Maybe it's just something that's current in the news. And if you're the first person to write an article or put a blog out about it, you're more likely to get a lot more traffic because there's no competition because people haven't covered it before. So again, to be an authority, sometimes you've got to be ahead of the game. So Google Trends is one way to do that, but also just listening to what your audience are asking for. So if you've got a blog, they might put questions on there, they might put comments on there about what's interesting for them. You may notice on other blogs or other forums that there's particularly questions people have and no one seems to know the answer to them. Or it could just be a case of on your YouTube channel, people make comments and they ask for a particular video. So this is one of those videos. Someone wanted to know how to get more traffic to their new website. And this is the way in which I've done it in the past. And so this is going to be useful for you as you're watching it and for others as well that have asked the same question. Now, the seventh area to get more traffic is to just use unique images, images that no one else has produced. I mean, Google knows if you upload an image that's already out there, Google knows it. It's able to identify unique images. So what I would tend to do is think in terms of even charts or diagrams. Those can be images in themselves. Infographics, you can make some infographics. They're quite easy to do with certain software. There are plenty of software out there to help you to produce great graphics like Canvas, for example. I use Photoshop. As a graphic designer, obviously it's a little bit easier for me to make unique diagrams and photos, but the fact is once you've uploaded those photos, Google comes across them, it indexes them. If you put alt tags on them or labeled them or given them a title, it starts to understand what they're about. Google's very intelligent now in understanding what images are about too. And then very quickly you'll find that a lot of traffic comes to your website because they click on the image and it takes them through to the article where the image can be found. And so articles such as things like the meanings of colours was one I did 2 or 3 years ago, but that still brings in a constant amount of traffic each day. And it's those articles, those older articles sometimes, that give you a constant stream of traffic of people that are still interested in the services and the products that you produce. The eighth thing you can do is to just build a list. Now, this has always been one of those things where it's easy not to do that, but to add a list builder these days is pretty straightforward. There's Aweber, there's MailChimp. There are ways in which you collect people's emails. And what it means then is that you're collecting emails of people that want to be kept up to date. You can send them newsletters and special offers and so on. But you can also build a series and a campaign. And how do you get people to sign up to it? Well, maybe you could just offer them a PDF or something of interest or even an ebook for free. And then by exchanging their email address, they have an opportunity then to get the information, but you then get their email address. But what you've got then is you've got that constant contact of building a rapport and building a relationship with your customers. And that will bring in traffic over time. So I put together a video on how to create an easy MailChimp list on your website, then head over to that video after this one. Now, number 9 is to just go back on some of your older articles and maybe older documents that you had and re-optimize them. Maybe you didn't understand what keywords were. Maybe keywords, long-tailed keywords have changed since you last wrote the article. And maybe it's a case of it's not looking that great because it didn't have any images. Maybe a video now could be embedded into it to make it more engaging to your customers. The fact is if you've got articles that are 2 or 3 years old, why not go through them and rewrite them and make them updated, give them new fresh links, give them perhaps a new title, maybe re-optimize the words so that it fits better to the audience. Because what's happened is over the last few years, you've learned, like I've learned, about my audience and what their needs are. And so as you gradually learn more about your audience, you can take the older articles and you can then rejig them, reinvent them so that they become appealing to your audience. And sometimes the only way you know whether that's been successful or not is to look back on stats. So you might go back, looking back a year ago and see how did those articles perform? Because often when an article is released and Google comes across it, the first thing it does is it does really well, then it dies off, and then gradually it starts to get a new type of traffic where people are finding it in the search engines as it gets ranked. So sometimes you need to just check back on older articles and see, are they performing as well as you expected? Do you need to retweak them or reinvent them? And the 10th thing that I did that really helped grow my traffic was social media. But using social media in a way where you can do releases. So when I wrote a new blog, I would then let everyone know, whether it was in LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, or whether it was perhaps using other optimization platforms, whether it was indexes, whether it was on GMB, whether it was on Pinterest. The fact is you suddenly want everyone that's aware of you to be made known aware of a new article or a new video on YouTube. But imagine you had one tool that did all that for you. Well, there is one tool that I use that does all those things for me, and I put together a video that shows you how you can use that too. So head over to this video now and I'll show you why it's such a brilliant tool to help you.